means to me is celebrating that diversity is our strength as a nation and as an army. Pride means something very special to me as a LGBTQ individual, and it's a chance to show everyone what we have to offer in terms of the diverse skill sets that we bring and the diverse ways of thinking we bring into the team to make everything work better.
You know, what I think is probably the strength of our fighting forces is the ability to kick ass. Not how you have to sex. Just a thought. Welcome to the second hour of the program. Dana Lash here with you, your lovable curmudgeon, back well rested, well fed from Italy. And we've a few things have happened. I don't know if you've seen. A couple things have happened while we were gone, and a lot of stuff over the past couple of days, just over the Independence Day observance. So this individual, while you have the saber rattling from China and the coup, not a coup, that happened with Russia and the Wagner Group. Remember, we talked about that like weeks ago. That immediately, I thought that was suspicious. But now this is how you have members of our, this wasn't just a member of the military doing this on their own. It was promoted by the Department of Defense. I have like a whole bunch of, the Army. Who else? Like our actual verified military branches. Department of Defense tweeted it and said, U.S. Army Major Rachel Jones found solace after coming out as a transgender female. And they said his, but they used her. Journey, battling depression and suicidal thoughts to embracing authenticity. Inspired. If you're suicidal because you don't know what bits and pieces you got, I don't want you in a position of that. I don't want you in the military. I mean, for crying out loud, the military has discriminated against people for having flat feet. But gosh, I don't know if it's a penis or a vagina. I'm so confused. Feel like it should be this one instead of that one. I mean, that's seriously? The purpose is to be a fighting force, not a social experiment. Embracing authenticity. What the hell does that word salad even mean? Let's just put words together. We're going to hug air. I don't know. Let's just put random words together. Embracing authenticity. That's the opposite of embracing authenticity. That's celebrating inauthenticity. Because you're saying that this dude is a chick and that he was suicidal and couldn't deal with everyday life until you started affirming his own fantasy perception of himself. Boy, let's go ahead and you have people here in the United States that don't believe that regular everyday people should be able to bear arms. But hey, if this person does this, let's go ahead and give him full auto and send him over to a village in Afghanistan. Let's go ahead. Where they would probably kill him. No, I have I've got a million questions. But the purpose is to be a fighting force, not a social experiment. And we wonder why we don't wonder, but they wonder why we're having all of these issues with recruitment. Now, it was the Department of Defense. This video was posted on the official Instagram page, verified, of the U.S. Army Sustainment Command. They posted that video. Sustainment Command. What? What does that even mean? You have one job. What's your job? War? What? War. Like literally kicking ass. That's my job. War. Not... Oh my gosh. This doesn't look like it's commanding any sustainment. This goes hand in hand with the story from the Wall Street Journal that I found. And the piece says the military recruiting crisis, even veterans don't want their families to join. The subheading, Pentagon scrambles to retain the main pipeline for new service members as disillusioned families steer young people away. And that's the truth of it. They absolutely are. And then you see stories like this. This soldier, he's a hero, Colonel Dr. Kelvin Wright. He had to walk away, he was forced to, after serving in the military for 14 years. He saved countless lives in Afghanistan. He trained medics. He's a reservist Army medic. He recalled his daily Chinook helicopter flights across enemy-held Helmand territory, risking his life to save critically injured soldiers and civilians. 14-year military career, and he's been canceled. His crime was to share without comment a Facebook post that he considered just something that was described as common sense. But the junior officers, well, they got sand in their you-know-whats, and they had angry backlashes. That's what it is. The message featured a quote from a woman's rights campaigner. It's Helen Joyce, and it read, quote, "If women cannot stand in a public place and say men cannot be women, then we do not have women's rights at all." And that is true. But the junior officers had their feels hurt. And despite his years of service, he was dragged into disciplinary proceedings after a single solitary complaint snowballed into a rage mob tantrum. A 7-page letter signed by several Alphabet activists and sent to top brass objected to him remaining in the Army because of his, quote, anti-trans views. He was never allowed to see the letter. He wasn't even told the extent of the allegations against him. He described it as a, quote, terrible slur on his honor, which it is. And he was canceled right out of existence. And the quote is right. If women cannot stand in a public place and say men cannot be women, we do not have women's rights. It's a sham. And just free speech right as well. So this guy can be canceled by Alphabet activists for saying the obvious. And we wonder why we have a problem with recruitment. There's no way in hell that I would allow any of my offspring to ever serve in a military. If you can't tell a penis from a vagina, you do not know how to prosecute a war. Plain and simple. If you don't understand basic science, you're not going to understand Sun Tzu. You're not going to understand strategy or tactics or objectives. It's not a social experiment. But if you're trying to destabilize the United States and make us weak in front of any kind of geopolitical foes, that's exactly the thing that you would try to do. It's exactly it.